Welcome back to the 55 Buick POS special build. What did I do last time? I don't remember. We did front brakes, and then, oh yeah, that's right. We rebuilt the back brakes. That's right. I forgot. Anyway, I got to take a break from the brakes for a minute because I have the car outside, and I want to get the interior cleaned out. So as bad as the outside of the car, maybe, if you think it's bad, inside's not a whole lot better. But that's okay, we'll work with it. Anyway, I had the dash torn apart so I could get behind it for some firewall stuff and whatever. That was from a while ago, no big deal. There's some of the Flintstone floors that will be welding up. We have door panels peeling pretty bad on the bottom. And believe it or not, I'm probably going to use those again. I'm not sure. Seats are torn, but springs are actually not so bad. All this junk was in the car when I got it, and I have not had time to even clean it out. And the back seat, something was living in here at some point. So yeah, that's going to need some doing. I don't know if this back seat's going to get used. I'd really like to find another one. I'll see how bad it is when I get it apart. Upholstery is not one of my things, although I would like to learn, just haven't had time. So we may be doing the old Indian blanket thing. We'll have to see. But first, I get this stuff cleared out. Let's see what's here. Not much in the car, actually. Some of this stuff is stuff I had thrown in there. So this car came from an auction with the dash, missing some pieces and such, so the only parts inside the car that actually came with it that belonged to it were that door trim there, the dash top, which we found in the building in another area. Got lucky. The one headlight ring, and the gas tank straps came from this car, the hubcaps, and the fan shroud. That's it. Speaker grill cover, and the windshield's metal trim there I got from another car and just threw inside. Valve covers I think came from the car as well. We'll keep them just because they're nail head. Maybe we'll play with them, do something with them, we'll see. But that's about it. There's not a whole lot there. So inside you can see now with it cleaned out just how bad the back seat is. It's pretty much junk. Hoping I can find something else that'll work, or when I get this stripped down, if the springs and stuff are actually still good, then I'll recover it with something. But the material on there right now is just pure garbage. I'll probably end up making new door panels for this thing. You know, it's back and forth on, do I make it like a real rat rod and just leave this interior, some of the interior, and work around it? And no, it's I don't think so. I've done that before and it's fine, but it's nice to have at least a decent interior. So we'll probably do, or I'll probably do a low buck upgrade on this interior with some paint and stuff. So, yeah. So these cars came with a rubber floor mat, which is no longer rubber. It's absolutely just disintegrating. And this horsehair crap here held water, and that's why the floors get all trashed. And I'm going to be doing a lot of shop vac work. And I'm hoping that the floor structure is pretty much there. I know I have to rebuild the fronts, obviously, because I can see the ground. But I'm hoping the backs and the center section's all right. Just if only for time. So I'm going to clean this out and see what's underneath it. Whew. All right, so I got the back seat bottom out, and you can see the disaster in here. So yeah, got some cleaning up to do. So after literally vacuuming up most of the floor pan into the shop vac, I can see we're going to be doing more floor pan work than just the fronts. So it looks like front and rear pans where your feet go on both sides, as expected. Well, I was hoping not in the back, but it's not really surprising. I mean, this car sat with water leaks, and that's what happens. And passenger side front, it's not looking much better. Passenger side front, Flintstone. Yeah. So, get this mat torn out and vacuum up the rest of this floor. All right, there's the passenger side front after vacuuming up most of it with the shop vac. Just as nice as the driver's side. Yeah, looks good. So anyway, anybody on the West Coast seeing this kind of thing be like, are you out of your effing mind? Why are you even touching this car? Because it's for the fun of it. That's all. Just for the fun of it. Low buck. The car's a POS. We're going to turn it into something decent. It'll still be a POS, but it'll be my POS. But anyway, this kind of stuff is not really that hard to fix. If you can MIG weld, which anybody should be able to learn to MIG weld within an hour. I mean, I could show you, if you didn't know how to MIG weld, I could have you MIG welding in 15 minutes. And then you just practice and get better. But all this is, there's a factory seam here with a lap joint. So when it comes time to rebuild this, we'll cut this out, replace this section first, up top, the toe kick, and then the bottom section will overlap that. Factory plug weld it, seam seal it, and it'll be just good as new. The factory had tons of seam sealer all over the place. I've been peeling it all up. It's all the stuff that's painted. It's everywhere. They just, well, welded these things together quick and smashed it full of sealer. You can see it all over the seam there where the two pieces overlap. It's a floor. It doesn't really matter. As long as it's strong, it'll work. All right, next thing to do, I need to get this front seat out of the car. So, first thing I'm going to do is cut these aftermarket from, I don't know what year, Guardsman seat belts. I don't know where they came from. They're probably worth a ton of money. I'm hacking them. Don't care. Getting rid of those. And then I'll get the side trim pieces off the seats, which are just held in by rusty Phillips head screws. And not rusty Phillips head screws there. And that'll give me access to the mounting bolts, because I don't know if the adjuster's working. I think it's seized up from sitting, but everything's fixable. So, next thing is get this apart. All right, passenger side covers off. 2 screws in the front, 1 underneath the folding seat back, and 2 in the back. Just noting this for those who have these old Buicks, because these things break very, very easily, and a lot of times if you forget one of the screws, you broke it. This car, really wouldn't matter so much, but if you have a nice one, you may not want to do that. So after removing that, found the pile of junk, including broken return spring. So that's for the seat adjuster. So we know if we use this seat, gonna have to replace that spring. Here's a Rolo's label from the Rolo's Candy, 10 cents. I wonder, does it have a year on it? Does it have a year on it? I'll have to zoom in because I don't see it. But I wonder how long ago it's been since you had 10-cent candy. And then unfortunately this other stuff is destroyed, so I can't get a year off that. Alright, let me vacuum that up. Alright, with the passenger side done and unbolted, there were 2 half-inch head bolts there. I'll show you on this side. Just have to take off the driver's side trim piece. The only difference here is you have the knob for the seat adjuster, which has a set screw underneath. I already loosened it up so I can take it off and show it to you. but underneath there is the set screw. So got to loosen it up before this will come off. My Allen key set is pretty worn out, but I think it was a 3/32 is the one that I had there. So can't even read the numbers. But I think it was 3/32. All right, back to the Phillips head screws and get this off. To remove the front seat out of the Buick, it's kind of a different setup here. There's 2 screws in the back, one here and the one on the inside I didn't get yet, which is in there. And then the front is actually a clamp that holds the front of the seat down. So those 2 bolts, you only have to loosen up. And mine are up here in rough shape, so I'm probably put some heat on them. The other side came out fine, but these don't look as good. So I'm going to pull that other back bolt out of there and see if I can wiggle this thing out of here. Alrighty, front seat is out. And actually, really not in bad shape at all. Of course, it needs recovering, but the base, the feet, are all good. Just surface rust. It'll work just fine. And you can see here, these are the clamps in the front that the front of the bench seat kind of hooks under and then just bolts into the back of the floor. So that's that. Get the seat belts cut out and move to the next point. All right, continuing on clearing out this interior. Seats out. I'm going to get a good look at how bad it is, or how good it is, or how bad it is. So next thing I'm doing is just cutting out these seat belts, which are bolted in the floor. They gotta go. So, cut them out. One more to go up front. The back ones can stay for now. All right, last thing to do now that the seat is out, seat belts are out, is to remove the under seat heater, which I'm not going to reuse. This is what Buick had for back seat passengers and for your feet. Another heater core inside this. The heat would come out through here to the back seat passengers and out through the front for the driver, and over there across to the passenger side. And we're not going to use it. It's going away. So all it is a bunch of big Phillips head screws, some that look like they're not going to come out, so we'll have to give them a shock with a hammer and a punch, and we'll get it out. All right, under seat heater is out. Admittedly, I mangled it because I don't plan on using it and didn't care. But if you have a nice one and you actually want to take it apart the right way, you have some screws on top that hold the cover down, as well as those big Phillips head screws around the perimeter. Then this lifts up. Your heater core is not on the ground, but is actually inside here around the fan. And there's 2 more screws through the base that hold it to the car, and then the whole thing comes out. So it's not horrible to remove. You can also get to those screws by removing this cover, and then you can get those 2 screws from the inside, all the perimeter screws, and lift the whole thing out. But I don't care. It's junk. I'm throwing it away. So here's where we are. It's now a Flintstone mobile. Needs front pans both sides, rear pans both sides, patch the holes for the heater, patch some miscellaneous holes. Miscellaneous holes. And yeah, then it'll be good as new after that. All right. So now that that's done, get the car back inside and finish up the brakes.